Hey there, everyone. It's David C. Barnett, and welcome to another episode of Small Business and Deal Making. I've got huge news today. We're talking about a big evolution in one of my big training programs that I talk about all the time. We're going to do a deep dive into what has changed in my Business Buyer Advantage online training. And let me uh, let me bring it up here because I'm going to throw it on the screen. Uh, Here is the change: is we've gone from version 3.4 up to version 4. So, what the heck does that mean? Well, I'm going to get into the details and tell you all about it. For those who don't know, what is the Business Buyer Advantage online training? I mean, I promote this at the beginning of almost every one of my videos, but there are people who don't know. So, let's dig into it. It's basically an education program that's been evolving since my business broker days. So this has been around for a long time, since 2009, in fact. It started off as an evening seminar where I was trying to convince people that they should want to buy a business, right? Because I was a business broker and I made my money in those days by actually getting deals done. And so I was showing people why it made more sense to buy an existing business than to start one on their own, for example, or get a job. It eventually grew to a half day and then a full day live seminar that I would deliver. That was around 2014. And then I put it online in 2015 in its original format. Back in 2019, I started to add additional modules, and this was all based upon people asking further questions or making comments or giving feedback. And so I started to add these bonus modules that were very specifically targeted about certain kinds of knowledge that were add-ons to the program. And I'm excited to say with the upgrade to version 4, the program has had a complete renovation here with expanded content for 2025. And for anyone who doesn't know, if you sign up and become a student of Business Buyer Advantage, you get in and then you're always in. So every time there's anything new, you've got access. So if you are a Business Buyer Advantage student, all the stuff I'm going to be sharing in this video, you've already got it. You just have to go log in and you'll be able to access all of this stuff. It's always there for you. So, um, if you become a student, what is the experience of this online course? So I'm briefly going to talk about this. So it's enhanced and updated student workbooks is the first thing. When I first started this program, there was a student workbook, and my idea was, of course, 10 years ago, people would print this off and put it into a binder and kind of like go through it as they studied the program. Well, now what we've done is I've gotten the help of some people from my team who have experience in education to create workbooks for each module. So as you go through each module, there's a handout. Some of them are 10 pages, some of them are 20 pages, but it helps to reinforce the content and make you think about what it is that the content means for you and your mission and your goals, etc. So the workbooks have all been redone. There's video tutorials that you watch on your computer, or you use the Gumroad app to use them on mobile devices. So if you want to use a tablet or your cell phone, for example, I always recommend the Gumroad app. There's audio files that you can also download. So what most people do is they'll watch the videos. Maybe then they'll go through the workbook. Maybe they'll print it off. Maybe they'll just read it as a PDF file. But then when they go for a hike in the morning or they go for a walk or a drive in the car, they'll use their cell phone and the app to listen to those tutorials over again and really let the information sink in. The support documents there are there in a variety of different modules for you to download. There's Excel tools for both analyzing your resources and for analyzing businesses that you might look at buying. I've done videos about the analysis tool before. There's PDF worksheets for planning your journey, etc. And there's new AI powered tools and instructions for building your own AI tools for doing some of the things that you need to do over the course of your purchase journey. And currently, there's over 50 plus hours of content in Business Buyer Advantage. So when most people sign up, it takes them a few weeks to get through everything. Now, the original Business Buyer Advantage content was about 9 hours. And what I did is I took the original slide deck, which was like 150 slides, and I completely gutted and reorganized it. I started on this in the end of March, and so I've been working on it for several months, and I reorganized it into this 9-stage buyer journey. And in doing so, vastly increased the amount of content. So the slide deck went from 150 slides to 440-ish slides, and the recording time went from 9 hours to 18 hours. So there's been a ton of new content that has been put in here, but more importantly, just the content that was there before has been tremendously expanded with further details, more examples, more stories, etc. And so it's the whole goal is to create this richer experience for you to be able to absorb more of the information and knowledge, ultimately to achieve the goal of the program. Because the promise I make to students of Business Buyer Advantage is not that they're going to buy a business in a certain number of days, or they're going to get a certain size of business, or they're going to get rich, or anything like that. The promise I make is that by doing this program and learning this material, you will be able to spot 90% of the bad deals that you will come across as a buyer. And my personal philosophy is that if you spot a bad deal and don't do the deal, that is a successful search, right? I'd rather see you not buy a business and keep your money than get into a bad deal and potentially lose out. So let's dive into each of these stages in the journey. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about each one. Then we're going to do a recap of the bonus modules because they're huge. So preparing yourself. This was a very brief section of the original content, and it's been tremendously expanded with some entirely new topics introduced here. You know, how do you start looking for a business and why? Evaluating your resources. There's a brand new personal financial power calculator that's been built and put into there. There's a new section on spousal alignment, and making sure that you and your spouse are on the same page with this search. Uh, this is based upon the last 10 years of my experience and dealing with a lot of people who have been working towards a deal. They get to the point where they're making an offer, or they have an offer and they get into due diligence. And all of a sudden they realize that they're not on the same page with their spouse. So this is about getting ahead of those kinds of problems, identifying your strengths and interests, setting your acquisition criteria, BATNA, which is an important negotiating tactic. And there's an Excel BATNA tool for being able to note and write down exactly what your best alternative is to a negotiated agreement, and then compare multiple deals versus your BATNA. That's all been built into an Excel tool that you can use. Uh, Step number two, conducting your search. How to start looking for a business. We talk about intermediaries, brokers, platforms, aggregators, the impact of AI on some of this stuff, buyer initiated versus seller initiated processes, evaluating listings. There's a fun video of me looking at some listings online, giving some feedback about what I see when I look at those listings. And importantly, how to build credibility with the sellers, brokers, and anyone else that you're going to be dealing with. Stage number three is talking to sellers and understanding the business. So I do a lot of instruction here about understanding the mindset and point of view of the people that you're talking to, so that you can frame your conversations, your questions, etc., and be prepared for those conversations. It it's amazing to me how many people that I personally have witnessed get into a meeting with a broker or a seller and literally not know what to ask. And so don't worry about that. If you take this program and go through module number three, you are going to be able to have a complete understanding of the thought process that should be driving your questions, so that you can get a better understanding of the business that you're going to be potentially acquiring. We talk about defining a real business, the people, the processes, the space, all kinds of conceptual understanding goes into this part of the program. In number four, we get into pre-diligence, which is examining the business. This is where we start to learn about the different notional cash flow levels, making normalizations. We talk about, but I've actually integrated a former bonus module into the main flow of the course. So we had a bonus module called Introduction to Financial Statements. It's now been integrated so that if you are new to the world of financial statements, you don't have to like take a detour out to do the bonus module. It's right there in the flow. And even if you are familiar with financial statements, I think there's a lot that can be learned from those extra videos in the program. We talk about evaluating equipment, leases, related party transactions, et cetera, how to do a SWOT analysis on a business that you're looking at, determining the value, so the methods of valuation and figuring out what a business is worth to you and how to make an offer, but how to build a capitalization rate, running cash flow forecasts and building pro formas. We have a case study that we introduce here called Bob's Window and Blinds. And we follow this case study all the way through the program right to the acquisition, so that you can see just like how it would work from the point in time when you find the business, having the conversations, doing the normalization, talking to the banker, making the offer, having the financing come together, doing the closing, etc. Still with number 4, pre-diligence, understanding financing so you can make an offer. So how you might likely be able to structure your offer to be able to buy the business. We talk about institutional versus vendor financing, the power dynamics, pros and cons, matching the deal structure to the business risk, how you set up the structure of the deal, etc. Then when we get into the making offers section, we talk about letters of intent, the offers to purchase, IOIs, like there's a lot of different documents that get used nowadays. We talk about offer terms, conditions, contingencies, deal protections. Earnouts is one of the new sections that's been added since the recreation in 2025. And that is based upon content that was created in the group coaching program. And the group coaching program, which is the follow-on to the online training, we meet 3 times a month, and we've been going since 2018. It has literally been a living laboratory of recording deal information and, the frustrations people have in talking to other parties in the deals and how things can be derailed, etcetera. All of that stuff since its inception in 2018 is being used in the recreation of Business Buyer Advantage. And so the earnout section is entirely driven, like it's like a half hour conversation about how to set up an earnout and the different spectra of functions that you can have access to when you're designing your earnout provision, uh, based upon what it is that you're trying to achieve in the earnout, like what kind of outcome you're trying to encourage. So all of this is in module number 5 about making offers. Number 6, the financing section, is now about securing the actual lender commitment. So this is a whole conversation about the due diligence process that the lender is going to go through in order to give you the financing commitment, in order to move forward with your deal and get your deal closed. In the due diligence section, we talk about what is due diligence truly. We talk about legal, financial, and operational due diligence. And I've got something entirely new, which is the due diligence kaleidoscope, that help you conceptualize what it is that you're trying to do in due diligence and learn exactly what you can rely upon and what you can't, and how to use your findings to renegotiate to protect yourself. There's due diligence tools, prompts, and case examples. We have an AI powered tool here to help with your due diligence checklist. This is in conjunction with a bonus module about due diligence, which I'll talk about here in a few minutes. Building your team is also in section 7. So, assembling advisors, interviewing and managing your team using AI tools and checklists, red flags to watch for in advisors. Section 8 is the closing and handover. So this is working with the seller on the transition planning, like having an idea of what is going to happen when the deal is actually done. Creating your SOPs, documenting processes, managing working capital, accounts receivables and payables, adjustments, staff introductions, all of this stuff is in the closing section. And just like understanding like what do the lawyers do? And I even have a section in here where I go through the different closing day models that exist. One of the points of confusion that a lot of buyers have is that they'll hear different things on different podcasts out there about what closing day was like, and they can't relate it to what they're being told because they don't understand that the lawyers out there in the world have different ways of closing deals. And so we actually look at the different closing day functional execution models and how they're different and where in the world you might find each of these different kinds of models. So it again, the whole point of this thing is to teach you so that you're prepared and you know what to expect and that you're not surprised by things and always being end up feeling like you're the doe in the headlights kind of thing, right? It's all about preparation. Section 9 is the operation and integration module. So, systematizing the business for scalability, the 13-step process that I teach in Build a Business That People Will Want to Buy. It's not the full program, but I go through the steps in here, and to help you understand what would be involved to go from being the business's operator to being an investor who owns a business, if that's what you want to do. Some people get into this because they want to effectively make an investment and buy themselves a job. They want to work in the business full time. Other people have the idea that they want to buy a business and then learn what they need to do to then extract themselves from the day to day. So that's what we talk about here in operation and integration. And the reason why we've gone with this new 9-stage framework is quite simple. I wanted to create a clearer framework for this program that would make it easier for me to go and continually renovate in the future. So as new things come up, it's easier now for me to insert new recordings into the flow of this program now that it's been redesigned in the way that it has been. And because of the way we read on the workbooks, it's easier to then update those if we have these new videos that are put in. So the framework has been enhanced to allow the program to be more easily adapted in the future. And my goal has always been to continuously add to the program. So bonuses, always included bonuses. So there's a bunch of select expert calls. These are things that come from the group coaching program that are part of Business Buyer Advantage online training now. So you get, as a student, you get a sneak peek of what the kind of stuff we do in the group coaching program. There's also special interviews that were done specifically for Business Buyer Advantage in some of the bonus modules in particular that are included in here, and these are always in here. There's also time limited bonuses that appear from time to time. And these generally are for marketing purposes. So I will sometimes do an announcement on my email list that, hey, this weekend there's going to be a special live event or special interview that is coming out in the program to encourage people to sign up for the program. Now, if you sign up today and then I do one of these time limited bonuses in 2 months' time, as a student, you're still going to have access to it. So, being a student means you always have access to anything new that comes in, and you've got access to the time limited bonuses as well. What I do is I send out a message through the Gumroad communication system through an email that says, hey, this weekend there's a time limited bonus. As a student, you're welcome to download it so that you can participate in all of those things as well. There's no reason to delay becoming a student because what happens over time is the price moves up over time with inflation and everything, and with the addition of new modules. And if you join today, it means that you will be warned and told, like, hey, there's a limited time bonus for you to download. And so you won't miss out on them. Whereas some people, even if they're on the email list, they get emails about the time limited bonus, but they don't read the email or whatever, and they miss out on these things. So to make sure you never miss out, the best thing is to become a student. Let's talk about the bonus content modules, because here's the thing. Even with the redesign of the original course here in 2025, the major upgrade to version 4, there's still more content in the bonus modules than there are in the actual main course. Okay. The bonus modules began in 2019, and I just got a list of them here. I'm not going to go into detail about what's in each one, but there was a module on buying in a recession, and that was done before COVID. And so all of the COVID stuff is in there too, as well as post COVID analysis of financial statements. So if you are looking at businesses and you're going to be looking at data that comes from the COVID period, that bonus module is going to help you interpret what you see or what you may not be seeing in those financial statements from 2021, 22 even. There's a module on bigger businesses. So the main flow of the program is really about Main Street businesses. In the bigger businesses module, I show you the research and show you how the valuation multiples change, for example, by different industry category as the businesses get bigger in size. And we use the analysis tool to show you how the cash flow would change at these different multiple levels based on larger businesses. There's a buying distressed business module that contains two special limited availability interviews that I've done with entrepreneurs about their experience in buying a distressed business. There's a section on share purchases and net normal position in working capital. So this is if you decide you want to buy a business as a share deal, and it also brings about this understanding of how you have to normalize a balance sheet when you buy a business and understand the working capital. So the example that we give in that one is the lumber yard. What if the lumber yard has a couple $100,000 of EBITDA, for example, but it's got millions of dollars of inventory? Like, how does it make sense to invest that much money to get such a relatively small cash flow? This is explained in this module, like how you get your head around it and understand how the offers are made. Um, Notional levels of cash flow and capital expenditures. So this module gets into the difference between EBITDA, EBIT, free cash flow, SDE, and introduces the concept of what's missing when we look at those different notional levels of cash flow and how we have to compensate for that when we go and make our offer to the seller. And this informs some of the understanding in the business analysis tool. So the business analysis tool is an Excel tool. There's 2 hour-long tutorials that teach you how to use it properly. I've also created a video already here on YouTube before where I gave a walkthrough of that tool. That tool is exclusively available inside Business Buyer Advantage. The SBA financing module has been updated for the new 2025 rule changes. There is an entire module from 2024 about due diligence. So this is like 5 hours of content. And the way that I designed this was with the idea that after you've done Business Buyer Advantage and gone through that module, when you actually find a business and you enter due diligence, you can go back and redo that bonus module to sort of review easily and increase your awareness of what it is that you're supposed to be keeping your eye on and looking for. There's also the latest big improvement for the one that I just finished now, the raising private capital bonus module, which again is like 4 or 5 hours of content, and it's all about what happens if you don't have enough money for your down payment, or if you want to try to put a deal together without using a bank. What tools are available to you? How do you keep yourself legal and compliant? Should you be selling debt or selling equity in your business? How do you make yourself attractive to people that could be potential investors? So that's all in the raising private capital module. And so, I mean, this is it. It's been a big evolution. It's been a huge amount of work from me and my team. And if you're a student of Business Buyer Advantage, please log in, check out the new content, and tell me what you think. Um, I would love for anyone to who has access to the program to go in and leave a 5-star review and a written review. It's only been a couple of years since the rating and review system has been active, so hundreds of you have done this program but have not had a chance to leave a review. So if you log in and you see that you're able to on the left-hand side, please, I would love for you to do that. And if you've been thinking about buying a business and you have questions and you're uncertain, like take the program that gets positive reviews and feedback from everybody. This is not a 10 or $12,000 program. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is the real deal. And I've been selling this program for over 10 years. And you can look at the ratings that people have left. You can look at the written reviews that people have emailed in. They've been all put on the sales page down at the bottom over at businessbuyeradvantage.com. You go to businessbuyeradvantage.com. Step 2 is the online training. Click there, it'll go through to the sign up page, and you can see what other people have said. Um, I stake my reputation on this program. Uh, People all over the internet have done this program and gone off and bought businesses. People all over the world have done this program and have, you know, not done deals because they've used the content in it to notice that they were about to do something really stupid. And the reason I know is because they send me emails and they say, David, I'm so glad I took your program because I just avoided, XYZ landmine that could potentially have cost me and my family our life savings. So this is a risk reduction program. Small businesses are the riskiest asset class that exists. And this program is all about learning how to invest in them in a risk reduced way. And with that, I'll say thank you very much. It's been a ton of work. I hope you check it out. And if you've been on the fence about Business Buyer Advantage for some time, then make sure you're on my email list so you always hear about any promotions or specials that are done, or sign up today over at businessbuyeradvantage.com. And with that, I'll say thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Cheers.